Grassroots is a global performance improvement business that combines business creativity with technology to ensure client organizations become more effective, if you will, with their employees, their channel partners, and us consumers. President of Grassroots America is Stephen Humphreys. Stephen, how are you? And welcome into Tomorrow.
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Glad to have you with us. What brings you to CES?
Well, we work with a lot of the manufacturers that are here, so we help them in their distribution channels. So most of the businesses you see here will sell through a channel that they don't directly control. And they need to be able to stimulate that channel. The channel might also be selling products of their competitors, so they'll be wanting to raise the profile of it. And most importantly for consumers, what we help them do is the product knowledge, the product understanding and the brand positioning, so that when the consumer ultimately buys the product, it's presented the way that the brand actually wants it to be presented.
It sounds like kind of advanced marketing, advertising, all product placement, I mean, all those things wrapped into one. Is that kind of a fair statement?
Sure, and it's very much what we call below the line. It's a type of marketing that the consumer rarely sees, but actually everywhere in life where you go, it is actually happening and going on under the surface.
Can you give us a couple of examples then that we might be able to relate to as consumers?
Yeah, I mean, we work for, of the 50 brands, the top 50 brands published here at the show, we work for 28 of them. So we work for people like RIM BlackBerry, Cisco, Microsoft and those organizations. So if you're buying a BlackBerry product, if you're going into a shop to sample it and see you've got one there, I've got one in my pocket as well.
Yeah, of course.
If you go into the shop, you will, some of the things that are going on when the sales rep is talking to you, the way they're describing the product and their understanding of the product is probably being stimulated and incentivized by us somewhere along the line.
Well, how is it then that Grassroots looks after the consumer? Because it seems to me like it's sort of a double-edged sword. Obviously, you want to take care of the client and make sure their product gets marketed well, but then where does the consumer come in? The benefit of that marketing? Or?
Well, I'm sure you've been into a shop many times when you're perhaps buying a complicated electronic device and you ask for some assistance or guidance on how it works, and many times we find that the retail clerk doesn't really understand and he can't give you the right answers. What we're here to do is to help organizations make sure they have got the right knowledge, they understand it and they position it correctly.
So in some cases, I guess you'd actually assemble the staff and spearhead training efforts and things of that nature?
Primarily we wouldn't, because of the scale. There's usually thousands of people involved, but we would use web-based technology, which is what we're very successful at. We're a global business as well. We're the only truly global business in our space. So if you're a business that's running all around the world, in Asia Pacific, in the Americas, in Europe, we can run the same program and adjust for cultural values, languages and legislation and stuff all the way around the world. So typically it would be done online, and we would accredit people online and reward them for that.
Gotcha. And how would you do things differently for consumer electronics industry clients and consumers than you would for produce or other clients?
The consumer electronics industry is the distribution channels are very complex. So you know, they're bought by consumers. Often products are components, and sometimes people buy them direct as well. So we have to understand the fragmented nature of those channels.
Gotcha. More information, of course, at your site, grassrootsamerica.com. And it sounds like a great opportunity for up-and-coming businesses as well as some of the big ones that you've talked about that need some help, just kind of steering them in the right direction, maybe.
Absolutely, and we're impressed at the number of big Chinese manufacturers that are here at the show, and keen to talk to them. And I was just telling your producer beforehand, about 15 years ago I went to see a company called Lucky Gold Star in London, and they said to me, mark my words, in 10 years' time we'll be as big as Sony and Toshiba, and today LG,
they are LG.
They have the biggest stand here.
Good point. Stephen, thanks for joining us into Tomorrow, and we'll let you get back to this busy show floor talking with more folks about helping them help us as consumers with consumer electronics. Meantime, swing by our website, links to all of our guests at intotomorrow.com.